Welcome back, guys. Baby got stacks. We're gonna get thrilling in this episode.
We're gonna get thrilling. This
just
is not
reminds me
our
of-
first Riley Sager. I was gonna say our first Riley, but it's not.
No, and you probably know what I rated it.
Yes, I did.
So I finished this, which is kind of a first. I finished this faster than Mel. I stayed up super late last night because I just really wanted to see the ending of it. Way later than I anticipated.
Yeah. I finished hour and a half ago.
This isn't a big book. We've read
No.
bigger. It was
So
a
she
pretty Oh, there it is. It was pretty I don't want to say fast paced, but I mean it was easy to follow along.
It was a quick read in the sense where you kept turning the page.
Yeah, and you had to, so Mel and I actually talked about this before we started rolling, but we both just, I don't know, this week we just weren't in the reading mood. It kind of took us a while
I felt a little slumpy, a little reading slumpy.
Yeah. And it happens. Even though we have a book podcast, there are days where I don't want to read, even if I do like the book. I just kind of want a break and to catch up on shows or things like that.
This is episode 43 or something like that. Yeah. So we've been reading one book a week for 40-something weeks. And so, it was bound to happen, people.
I don't feel any smarter. Okay, well.
I still can't read.
I think I just memorized words and just go with it.
Just memorized a lot of words.
Well, this book, I will say, I liked a lot better than the other one.
Yeah.
I was pretty skeptical.
The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager, by the way. I don't know if we said the title of it.
We did not. We thought maybe you'd be mind readers by now. Guess
you can
not.
read the title. I can't, but you can.
I memorized the words.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, The Last Time I Lied by Riley Sager. So we've read.
This is one of his earlier works.
Yeah, we read The House Across the Lake. I didn't care for that.
So I will say, spoilers for obviously The Last Time I Lied, and maybe a little bit of The House Across the Lake, because we're going to compare and contrast.
Yeah.
Considering this is one of his older works, and that's no longer his newest, but one of his newest.
Yeah. Like I said, I was pretty skeptical about this.
Yeah.
I'm not going to lie. Because I think I gave the other one a 3.
3 sounds right.
I have to get my
3 sounds good.
My phone.
We'll see. Yeah, I have to look it up too.
I
also read Lock Every Door by him. I'll check what I gave that one. I gave House Across the Lake a 3.
Oh, I gave it a 4. Oh, I kind of want to bump it down to a 3.
Do what feels right.
I'm bumping it down. Sorry, Riley.
I gave Lock Every Door 4.5.
Okay. Well, I gave...
Oh, yeah, you go first.
5 out of 5.
5 out of 5.
Have
you seen my rating?
No.
Do you want to guess? It's a fun game. I only finished this like an hour ago, so I just updated it.
I'm gonna say...
Sorry, my
4 out of 5, because I feel like you're better at figuring out twists than I am. I'm very oblivious to twists.
That is the reason why it's not a full 5 for me.
Okay.
But I did give it a 4.5.
Okay.
It was close.
Okay. Yeah, I'm the most oblivious when it comes to twists. I don't get. I'm like,
like I never mean to figure it out. I just listen. I just, even in like real life, I would be like, I bet he did it. Like that's just how I am. So when I read, I'm like, I bet he did it. Spoiler alert, he did do it.
Also, spoiler alert, I went on to Goodreads earlier to kind of see for the Rowdy 1-star, if there were, because sometimes I like to go in there and pick certain ones out to make sure, because sometimes they're really long.
See how rowdy we can get. Yeah.
Yeah, sometimes they're really long. I will say the ones this week are pretty great.
Oh, I'm so ready.
Pretty great. Okay.
Ready for Rowdy Roundup.
I guess you could read the back of the book, 'cause we have not gotten to that.
So we can kind of discuss the plot, but with you, I kind of want to discuss the compare and contrast of House Across the Lake versus this book, because Riley Sager, I've noticed, is a really, you love him or you hate him type of deal, and not just not him personally, but like his books. They really elicit a lot of feelings one way or the other. Like people have their absolute favorites and then say other ones are complete trash. And so you kind of see with this one and House Across the Lake different sides of a thriller. I feel like this was, neither of them were really suspenseful. I wouldn't say they were like suspense.
No.
But thriller. And this is truer to real life, I guess you can say, versus House Across the Lake leaned more.
Oh, don't even get me started on that paranormal crap.
Magical realism. It got a little wild and crazy.
No, it got a little stupid is what we're going to say.
Wait, okay. You know, those are words too. And those are words I memorized too. And I will say, having read Lock Every Door, apparently Lock Every Door is a popular one. People like that one. Mm-hmm. That one got a little wild and crazy at the end too.
Okay.
So, if you're into books that get weird, looking for a thriller that's not your basic like domestic thriller or classic whodunit,
serial killer kind of,
want a thriller with a bit of spice, but not like romance spice. Just a little like something extra. Try a Riley Sager. Probably this one, because I really liked this one.
I did like this one. Should I read the back of the book?
Yes.
Okay. Two Truths and a Lie. Vivian, Natalie, Allison, and Emma played it all the time at Camp Nightingale. But the games ended the night Emma sleepily watched the others sneak out of the cabin into the darkness. The last she or anyone saw of them was Vivian closing the cabin door, hushing Emma with a finger pressed to her lips. Now a rising star in the New York art scene, Emma turns her past into paintings. Massive canvases filled with dark, gnarled branches that cover ghostly shapes in white dresses. When the paintings catch the attention of the wealthy owner of Camp Nightingale, Francesca implores Emma to return to the newly reopened camp as an art instructor. Wouldn't she like to put the past to rest? Familiar faces and the same dark lake haunt Nightingale, where Emma is even assigned to the same cabin she slept in 15 years ago. But not everything is the same. The only security camera is pointed directly at Emma's door, and long-hidden cryptic clues that Vivian left behind begin to surface. Soon, Emma finds herself sorting through lies from the past while facing mysterious threats in the present. And the closer she gets to the truth about Camp Nightingale, the more she realizes that closure could come at a deadly price.
If you're in the Northern Hemisphere, especially read this now, because it gave all the summer vibes. You're at summer camp, great descriptions of the lake. That was fun. And I didn't hate the main character.
No, and I thought the twists were good. Like, I'm going to be like...
Yeah.
I mean, I've said it before. I'm very oblivious to twists or things like that. But I liked the way the story was told. And at the end, I couldn't believe it.
It was short chapters. Love that.
We do.
The occasional flashback to 15 years in the past when the original three girls went missing. Very nice. And a bunch of little reveals consistently came up.
It was so good.
And so you kept learning little by little, and you're going through the same journey that Emma is, learning little piece by piece, like following breadcrumbs. And so as almost as much as she does, because reveals are done to her too.
I also thought that the writing was really good. So when we're reading 13-year-old Emma's eyes, the terminologies, the way they talk while reading it, made me okay, we're 13. But then also Riley was able to go to Emma as she is now. I think she's 26 26, 28. I know she's late 20s
just
now.
Under 30, yeah.
And so we also got to read it in the older Emma's version as well, perspective. And it seemed like the terminology and the way they talked and things like that were more mature. And it made it feel like, okay, this isn't the same person.
Yeah, it was very believable the way he wrote the other teen girls, like the way they spoke,
especially Vivian.
Yeah,
like her diary.
Much. Mm-hmm.
Spot on.
It sounded like a 16-year-old.
Yeah.
Rich bitch at Camp Rich Bitch.
Yeah. Love it. Yeah. And so basically, we find out that Emma was forced to go to this camp because of her parents. And as you said, this is Camp Rich Bitch. That's like what the terminology was, because all of the preppy, stuck-up girls go to this camp. It's 6 weeks, and it's at this, I think this is 6,000 acres is what it was. It was this man-made lake. The owner, Francesca, her great-great-grandfather bought the land and made the lake himself. And so all of a sudden we're learning about the girls, and then we learn that they disappear. And Emma's the only one left. And she's haunted by the images of the girls. We kind of know something happens. Emma feels very guilty for, but we don't know why she feels guilty. And then Francesca, in today's world, she I don't want to say she corners Emma, but she goes to one of her art exhibits and says that she has a deal for her to basically come back to the camp to be an art instructor.
She's reopening it.
She's going to be reopening it. We later find out that Francesca actually has cancer, and this is going to be the last summer that it will be open, or at least that she'll be, that she'll be alive. We also have some other characters. So Francesca has 2 sons, Chet and Theo.
Adopted.
Didn't like Chet, really.
No. First off, his name is fucking Chet.
Also Mindy.
Mindy fucker.
Insert eye roll immediately.
His fiance Mindy and her adopted
she was annoying.
Now Doctors Without Borders son Theo.
Yeah. And Theo and Emma kind of had a thing where Emma
that whole thing was weird. Yeah.
Yeah. She kissed him when she was 13, and he was like 17.
18.
She was like, you're 13.
He was about to head out to college.
Yeah. I'm like, what is happening here?
Yeah.
And then there's like some kitchen staff. Then we find out some of the other instructors also went to the camp at the time that Emma did, so she knew of them when she was younger too. There's a lot of, she's kind of like the outcast because of what happened when she was there originally.
She originally accused Theo.
Yeah.
And that really ruined that family's reputation for a long time. It really messed up Theo's life. He just constantly
tried to kill himself by getting into a car accident. I want to say he was like under the influence.
He was, because I mean, he was an accused killer, but everyone just thought he did it.
Yeah. And so like they had to pay a lot of settlements for them. So as of now, the girls were still missing 15 years later. So Emma agrees to go back. She basically has to stay, or no, she wants to stay in the same cabin that she did 15 years prior. But then she finds out things are starting to happen that's kind of weird. There's a spot in one of the shower stalls that you can see through where she had watched Theo and Vivian doing it in the shower when they were at camp 15 years prior. And so she knew about that, and so that's when she realized someone was watching her. She then realized that there was a camera situated outside of the door, facing the door, but that was the only camera she saw on the entire property, which she thought was kind of strange. And then at one point, there's 3 crows that are placed in the cabin that she had no idea how they got there at all.
Yeah.
Which I was reading this, I'm like, how the hell did these birds get in? Okay, I know someone did it, but who the heck is doing this?
And then later on, Liar is painted onto the cabin door.
Yeah.
But early on, each camper has a chest that they can keep their stuff in. And so when Emma was putting her stuff in her chest, she remembered that Vivian used to have like a little hidey spot in the chest where she kind of like made a slit in the lining of it.
Yeah.
And Emma was just reaching in there, not expecting to find anything, but finds what's Vivian's diary. Or no, the map.
She finds the map and the picture of the woman.
Picture of a woman.
And I'm like, that's suspicious.
And so she realizes it's a map of the camp and like beyond the camp out into the land surrounding it. So there's
an X.
There's an X. So there's treasure. So she goes to canoe across the lake to go to the X. She has to end up taking her the 3 girls who are in her cabin because they were questioning her. She's like, fine, you can come. So one's kind of a know-it-all. One's knows way too many facts for her own good that she scares herself with like way too many statistics. And then
Crystal,
the comic drawing. Crystal, Sasha, Miranda?
Yes.
Nailed
it. They kind of remind her of the girls back in the day.
The original, yeah. Yeah. So they go to the spot and she finds the diary, Vivian's diary, ends up reading it. It makes it sound like Vivian was on Francesca's or Franny's trail. Like she had a secret. She knew she was hiding something.
Yeah.
And like she snuck into the lodge, which is where Francesca and her family were staying when they're on the campsite that no one else is allowed in, and made it out and saw something and wrote in her diary that she knew she was hiding a secret or something.
Yeah.
And so Emma goes on this huge trail to try to figure out what Vivian was trying to figure out. And you learn that Camp Nightingale Mammy Lake was actually built on top of Peaceful Valley Asylum.
Insane Asylum. Yeah.
And there was pictures of the girls that Emma found in the lodge that Lottie was apparently it was hers. But it was female names and then a color, but we learned that those aren't their last names. But Emma finds out that they were selling the women's hair to make wigs. And so it kind of seemed like the doctor who was running the place was taking in these women at a time where you can kind of institute them for anything.
Yeah.
And then taking advantage, having them grow their hair out long so he could sell it and make money.
It was like the late 1800s.
Yeah.
And Lottie, we forgot to mention Lottie. So Lottie is kind of like Franny's right-hand man. Her family,
like personal assistant and like.
Yeah, so her mom was not best friends, but was Franny's assistant. And then after Lottie's mom passed and Lottie took over.
Yeah, it was a whole lineage of,
And then Lottie's grandmother was Franny's grandmother's assistant, and then her great grandfather was business partners with Franny's great grandpa. Basically, yeah, they've all been like next to each other. And come to find out, the guy that owned the asylum was Lottie's, like her actual name is like Charlotte or something. And
Charlotte.
Yeah. Which I thought was kind of funny because Emma says something about Lottie and she goes, oh, you thought that was you thought Lottie was my name? Oh dear, no. Like,
Yeah.
oh God, how could, no. And so she thought that basically the person that owned the asylum was probably like abusing the girls and things like that. And it was kind of weird because Lottie wanted to keep the chest with the girls' pictures on. It just, I don't know. Lottie was a little strange. So towards kind of the middle, we're slowly getting to the end. The 3 girls in the present go missing. Mm-hmm. So it's kind of like it's happening again. Where Emma is with these 3 girls and they go missing. And after the original 3 girls went missing 15 years ago, she was actually hospitalized in a mental institute for 6 months because she has a form of schizophrenia that was brought on by the girls going missing. And she wears this little charm bracelet that represents 3 birds to kind of like for her to use to say like, this isn't real. I'm stronger than this.
Yeah.
Because she sees the girls and that's why she paints, is because she'll paint the girls in the photos and then she'll paint over them.
Over it.
And it's a coping mechanism. It's helped her not see them anymore because she used to see them all the time. But she starts seeing them again at the camp. And it gets even worse after the second set of girls go missing. And so now she's being bombarded by the police. It looks very suspicious that more girls went missing under her care or around her being the only one. And I truly did not expect the ending. Like the very, very ending.
Oh, the very, very ending.
Well, yeah.
So, okay. Trying to figure out. So it turns out that that insane asylum, once it went out of business, Lottie's great-great-grandfather sold it to Granny's great-great-grandfather, and he made the lake over the asylum. So there's just a building underneath the lake. And
which I want to know how you do that.
How fucking deep is that lake?
I know.
And then, like, how do you put enough land around it to build up?
How do you the land? I know. I don't.
What are the logistics of this? I need a schematic.
I don't understand it, but that is what happened. And so I don't remember if she like kind of realizes possibly where they're going, because she thinks that maybe they are back where she had found their diary originally, but because they had taken the map.
So when she realized, they at one point a canoe came floating down that had Emma's charm bracelet in it that she lost the previous day, and she's like, I think I'm being set up, but that kind of just sounds crazy because
the cop annoyed the crap out of me.
God, yeah, he did. He was really just one of those cops where like he's already decided who did it, and so he's gonna keep trying to.
It was annoying.
It was so annoying. But she realized that when she was falling asleep, the last thing she heard the girls say was like, "Oh, I'm worried about Emma." And since the diary and the map were gone, she was like, "They were probably trying to help me." And so she goes back to where she took them originally to find the diary.
She also had been drinking the night that they went missing, which did not help.
Did not help.
Not at all.
And she like calling out their name, trying to see if they can call back, and they do. And she realizes they're like in this really like decrepit building-ish thing with like it's blocked off. The door is blocked off, and so they can't get out. And so she starts like, trying to get them out, and they do. They come running out, and Sasha's all beat up, and her glasses
Yeah, she got punched in the face.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was like, oh, what is happening? And then so Theo.
Well, Emma's like, what happened? Like, tell me what happened. Yeah. Like, where'd you guys go? And they're like, we're trying to help you, trying to find your friends. And so we came out here, and then we saw like a silhouette of a man, and bashed Sasha in the head, blah, 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 trapped them in there, but they couldn't tell who it was. And yeah, Theo then approaches and Emma turns and it's Theo. And so she's like, girls, go back to the canoe, row as fast as you can, get back to camp. Like, don't even like wait for me. Just go. So she's accusing Theo. And what I hated so much was when Theo at that point was like, Emma, you're sick.
I know. I'm like, Theo, you are not helping yourself. Let's remember we both
know you're sick. Like, even Franny kept like bringing up Emma's past. Yeah. It's like she didn't do anything like harmful. Like she had trauma from that horrific event.
We also forgot to mention a little bit before this point, we do find out why Emma feels so guilty. So the night that the original girls left, Vivian did come back and is knocking on the door. Well, Emma had gotten so mad that the girls had left that she locked them out, and Vivian said, "Let me in," and she was silent, and so then Vivian left, which "let me in" is gonna play a part that I didn't even realize.
Yeah. We also learned that when Emma saw Vivian and Theo in the shower, she was admitting that to Theo, and he was like, "What are you talking about? We never had sex." And they realized that it was the handyman groundskeeper, Ben.
Didn't like him. I also did not like whatever the lunch guy's name was.
Yeah, what the fuck?
So at one point he's like staring at the girls, and she looks at him and she goes, "Those girls could be your daughter, like that age." And he goes, "It's not illegal. I have daughters of my own. It's not illegal to look." And I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, it's not illegal to look. I'm like, gross. He should not be working there.
Right? And come to find out his wife works there. I was like,
yeah, it's like a whole family and like the neighbors. Awful.
Yeah. So
anyway, just some backstory.
Theo is trying to get Emma to come back, and she's freaking out like, "Oh my god, Theo did it. So she is backing up as he's going forward to her. And so she runs into a cave.
Yeah.
And she starts backing up, going back like further back, and then she falls down into like this cavern basically. And she tries to climb up to get out, falls and sprains her ankle pretty badly. And so now she's like, "Oh my god, this is how I'm gonna die in here."
It. Yeah, now I'm lost.
Like, now I'm gonna die. So she's there for I think like all of the night.
It's a long time, yeah.
And then once it becomes morning, she realizes that she can see daylight under the water. So she crawls under and gets out. And that's when Chet's there with his boat. And so she's like, "Oh, thank God, like Chet's here." So he gets her out of the water and then smacks her with an oar.
I was going to say, she's freaking out. She's like, "Where are the girls?" And he's like, "Oh, Theo's taking them to the hospital." And she's like, "They can't be around Theo." And smashes her.
Just smacks her with an oar. I'm like, God dang it.
Smacks her with an oar.
So then she comes to, and I'm pretty sure he's rowing her. That's when they get to the very top of the old asylum, because it has the weather.
Yeah, they were by the roof of it.
Yeah. And so I want to say was going, she realized basically that he was going to kill her. And
evil villain explains this whole thing. It turns out he kidnapped the girls basically as revenge to get Emma arrested because she ruined their family's life and Theo's life, and they've lost so much money trying to lawyers and paying out the families from the disappearances.
Like $10 million.
$10 million. Yeah, they used to be billionaires. Now they're only millionaires. And
tragedy.
Yeah, and Franny only kept her penthouse and the camp, and she's dying, and so Chet is probably not realizing how much money he could have gained in inheritance, and he's getting married to Mindy. So this was all, this 3-girl disappearance was all Chet. He painted on the door, he put the birds in there. His plan was to make Emma look crazy, and he was like, he made it super easy because then you said you started seeing Vivian. And so when it pushes her in.
I feel like he smacked with the Oregon, but I feel like there also was a gun. I feel like a gun went off because it was, yeah. Basically, Emma ends up falling into the water and starts sinking down into the actual asylum.
Building.
And that's when she sees bones and she sees a locket that was Vivian's, and so now she knows that the girls had been down there the entire time. So finally, she comes to, and the cop apologizes because they're gonna arrest Chet, and
it was Theo that dove in and grabbed Emma out of the water.
Yeah.
And now she's in the hospital. The girls are fine. They looked into the bones. They're gonna start testing them because there was apparently a lot of bones. So they had to sort through all that. And Chet's in jail. She says bye to Franny, and Theo and Emma make up.
Yeah, but then
it kind of fast forward a few months, and Emma's painted a whole new series, having a new art showcase. Theo's going off on another contract for Doctors Without Borders. Franny died, and she's at her showcase. That's a whole new water series, and she's staring at one of her biggest paintings, and a woman walks up like, "Oh, it's beautiful."
Well, what happens before that? Before that, we find out that they only found Allison.
Oh, that's right. We got a call from the detective.
Allison
Allison.
Why am I?
Well, there was a lot of girls' names because I mean, 2 sets of 3 missing girls.
My word! Why can't
my word? Oh man, actually, I can't find it.
Natalie. They only found Allison and Natalie's bones, and she goes, "Well, that can't be because Vivian's necklace was down there with the girls' bones." And they're like, "We've scoured. I mean, it's possible they could be lower down. It's going to take us a while to find everything, but in with the bones where the girls should have been, they only found Allison and Natalie, and both of their skulls were cracked. That coincided with the shovel that was found near the lake.
Yeah.
And so they think that someone had killed Allison and Natalie and smashed their heads in with the shovel. Now proceed.
And now they're at the showcase. A woman walks up, compliments one of the paintings and says, "Oh, are you the artist?" And Emma's like, "Yeah." And she turns and like really looks at her face, and it's Vivian. And the woman says, "Emma, let's 2 truths and a lie."
That was like the classic game.
Yeah. And early on, you learned that Vivian had an older sister, Catherine, who had passed away by drowning in a frozen lake. On a dare, she ran out there and sank. And so her 2 truths and a lie. It's one, she knew that Natalie and Allison,
because they were, I think her
best friends with her sister, Catherine.
Yeah, I think so they were best friends with her, and then because one of the other campers, his name was Becca. Becca knew Catherine and Vivian before camp, like they grew up together, and so she knew that Allison, Natalie, and Catherine were like BFFs all together. Once Catherine died, then suddenly Vivian basically became her older sister, and like now those
only
2
hung
girls
out
were her
with
best friends. Yeah, all that stuff. And so when they're at the showcase, she says, one, Allison and Natalie were with my sister the night she died. They simply watched her because at one point Vivian pretended to be drowning in the lake to get Theo's attention away from Emma. And so she goes, "After all, I pretended to drown in front of everyone, and Natalie and Allison did nothing." And then 2, since I already suspected what Natalie and Allison had done, I spent a year researching and planning. So she basically had found out the history of Lake Midnight.
Mm-hmm.
She had planted a sweatshirt in the woods to confuse them. She did the groundskeeper to get the key to the tool shed. And then she led Allison and Natalie to the secret spot on the lake where no one would ever look. And so she thought she was looking into Peaceful Valley to expose its existence, but really it was to find the perfect place to hide her crime.
Mm-hmm.
And then her third one was Vivian is dead. Which I was like, whoa.
Oh, wow.
And then she goes, wrong. Vivian died 15 years ago. Let her rest in peace, Em. And then she leaves.
And then Emma paints a portrait of Vivian as she looked now and was going to send it to the detective and tell him that Vivian is still alive and have him posted everywhere.
I was like, whoa.
So that reveal is literally the last
page.
It's the last page.
I was shocked.
I know, all the way to the end.
That one got me.
Were you thinking who done it?
I thought it was Lottie. She seemed really sus.
She was sketch. She was very sketch. Now, when the second set of girls disappeared, did you think it was Lottie again, or did you think it was someone else?
I thought it was either Lottie or the groundskeeper. Because the groundskeeper also had been there previously as well. And she seemed like a sketchy dude.
Yeah, just skeevy.
Who did you think?
So I knew Chet did some shit the whole time.
Immediately,
when they introduced Chet and his fiancée, I'm like, oh, it was fucking him.
See, I was oblivious.
No, I knew he did something, but I didn't know what. He was just sketchy, but he was a kid when the original disappearances happened.
Yeah, he was
like,
10.
I don't know if he did that, but he definitely did something. Turns out he did something in the book later on. And I also thought Lottie was sketch. I thought when we learned her lineage, I was like, maybe she's rebelling against the fact that she's always been an assistant to this rich family.
That's what I thought. I thought she was getting back on her family.
Yeah.
I thought maybe her great-great-grandfather was forced to sell the asylum, and then the grandfather just sunk it into the ground like it was no biggie. And I thought she was getting back by ruining the reputation of the camp, which would have made sense.
I figured Vivian was up to something more sinister. I did not expect her to be the killer and to have gone off.
To be a murderer. Yeah. Yeah. That one shocked me.
That was good. That was good twists, good turns. Is it time for a rowdy roundup of reviews?
It's gonna get rowdy. Okay. Okay, so on Goodreads, this has a 4.05 stars, 133,411 ratings. Majority of people gave it 4 stars. So Nikki says, alternative title, last time I read a bunch of nonsense.
Bunch of nonsense.
This one got me though. Mary rated it a 1 star. If you like Scooby-Doo mysteries, you'll love The Last Time I Lied.
Oh my god. This was way more complex than a Scooby-Doo mystery.
Someone rated it a 1 star. I should have known the instant I found out that Riley Sager was actually a white man that I would be disappointed in his book.
But he's a gay white man who loves Taylor Swift, so it's redeemable.
Oh, he is?
I
didn't know he liked Taylor Swift.
Oh, he loves Taylor Swift.
I love that.
He makes Taylor Swift references in like all his new books.
A lot of people do not like that he's a man.
That Riley Sager is?
If you enjoy a man who obviously disrespects women writing as a woman, this is for you.
Wow.
This is a book about a woman and female friendship written by a man, and it shows.
Yeah, in his acknowledgments, even in this book, towards the end, it says, other necessary thanks go to Stephen King for his generosity, Taylor Swift, whose lyrics from Sad, Beautiful, Tragic I shamelessly cribbed.
Yeah, that's great. This would be 2 stars, but the book automatically gets deducted a star because the author is a man who couldn't sell any books as a man.
Oh, why? Why are they coming at him so hard?
They really are.
Oh my god. You'd think he did some shit.
This is one of the worst books I have read in the year of our Lord 2018. As a person who frequently apologizes to cupboards when I close them too hard, I would consider myself to be a pretty empathetic person, and yet I feel absolutely nothing for these characters. Yeah, they don't...
Okay, to be fair, I'm not 100% sure if he's gay, so I apologize if he is not, but I have a strong inkling.
Someone just said with peace and love, no. Yeah, they really just don't like it.
Yeah, his whole Instagram is news about books and Taylor Swift.
Someone said, well, that's a waste of time.
Oh, wow.
Someone said just a little far-fetched. A little far-fetched. This was not far-fetched compared to
I hope they didn't read the House
Paranormal.
of the Lake.
I was gonna say. Oh man. Yeah. What an absolute piece of garbage. Damn.
Oh, the absolute garbage. Would you read more Riley Sager?
I would.
Okay, because we got a loss and a win.
I would give it another go. I feel like so far I like his older stuff more because this was older than the other one.
Yeah, I was gonna say, would you read his newest next or a backlist?
I mean, I'm very intrigued by the new one.
I know it has such a good sounding premise. What's the ratings on it like right now? Let me look. I can look up. Unless you're still on Goodreads.
I am. 4.25.
Wow. I mean, it probably. Wow. I mean, that book gives me like the lady is Lizzie Borden vibes.
Yes.
Which I love.
I wanted to see what the 1-star reviews were. Someone just said, hate this. That's it.
Oh. I mean, oh.
This was just a silly mess. It's like they're rating me.
What a silly goose of a book.
Yeah. Unlike the last silly mess I read by this author, which had a supernatural twist, she must have read The House Across the Lake.
Mm-hmm.
It says, in that vein, that one of the book's main threads is to draw direct parallels between caregiver-assisted suicide and straight-up murder is, quite frankly, gross. Riley Sager, you have fooled me for the last time. This book is horrendous. I am intrigued. I think
he writes really well. I will say, in House Across the Lake, the story weird. The writing was still good.
I will say I'm a little scared to read his newer work because I didn't like the paranormal aspect of the other one. And I mean, Mel obviously knows, but we like ghost stuff, so it's
we like paranormal. It was just the way it was.
It was cheesy. I didn't like it. I didn't like how
it didn't blend well with the rest of the book.
It wasn't believable.
It wasn't done well.
Yeah. I would read again. This book saved him. If I didn't like this book, it would have been a no.
It would have done.
It would have been
it would have been really awkward for me because I somehow own like all his books.
I don't even know how that.
No joke. Yeah, like all of them except the newest because it just came out.
Yeah. Well, it's I think coming out in 5 days. I don't think it's out Or is it out? Is it out?
I think it's out.
Well, I thought it was coming out on the 25th.
I don't know actually.
Should
I know
look?
it was an add-on option on Book of the Month. We're looking.
Well, Book of the Month can be like early release.
Early, yeah. It wasn't one of the main options. It was an add-on option.
I'm looking. Oh. Today.
Oh, shoot.
Look at that.
Really?
Today, well, let me rephrase that. We are recording on, oh my God, I'm an idiot. It's June 20th. It's July 20th today. Jeez Louise. I lied. It came out a month ago.
This been out for a while.
Guys, it's been a very long week at work.
Special and time things right. Anyway.
No. We are recording this on July 20th. It came out June 20th, 2023. Mm-hmm. He does have Surviving the Night, which also is a recent one as well. Not rated as high.
No, I hear that one people say is one of the worst books they've ever read in general.
8.5.
So
that is slightly lower than The House Across the Lake. So The House Across the Lake is at a 3.58. Survive the Night is at a 3.52.
Ooh. Yeah, 3.5. Anything under 3.7 really isn't that highly rated on Goodreads. You'd think it'd be anything under 3, considering 3 is the average, like right smack in the middle, but no.
He has came out with one book a year starting in 2017.
Oh, maybe he's running out of ideas.
So it goes based off of books that have come out.
Mm-hmm.
Final Girls was his very first book that I can tell. That one came out in 2017.
Okay.
2018 was the one that we just read the last time I lied.
Okay.
2019's Lock Every Door. 2020's Home Before Dark. 2021 is Survive the Night. 22 is The House Across the Lake, and then 23, the only one left.
That's really prolific. Some authors don't even put out a book every 3, 4, 5 years.
And they either come out in June or July.
He does have really summery reads. These are quick thriller books that you could read on vacation, on the beach, at the lake.
I do. So I've always liked and been intrigued by the Lizzie Borden case.
Mm-hmm.
So the only one left does give a huge Lizzie Borden vibes, with being in 1929. The whole family dies except 17-year-old Lenora.
Mm-hmm.
And she stabbed her father with a knife. And I think it's then so she's in a care home now, and I feel like she hadn't talked since the murders or something.
I don't know the exact plot. I'm trying not to actually read what it is
as I'm reading it too.
You know I don't listen to you.
I'm trying not to listen. I'm like, so it says here, right
precisely, here. Word for word. Spoilers.
Oopsies. But yeah,
I'm pretty excited about it. I'm gonna wait until it's out in paperback. Plus, by then there'll be more review.
Yeah. So I kind of screwed myself over because the House Across the Lake version that I have is hardcover, and I bought The Last Time I Lied in paperback on Amazon.
Well, I'm debating on whether to keep The House Across the Lake.
I'm gonna be honest. I'm probably gonna get rid of it.
That's my only one of his books that's hardcover too, and it's because it's a Book of the Month version.
Yeah. So far. What other one? Wasn't there one recently that I did not like and was going to get rid of?
Last week's book?
No, was it?
What was last week's book?
No,
I don't remember.
Last week was
The American Roommate Experiment.
Oh.
And Spanish Love Deception.
Maybe it was the
I think
American
those were
Roommate
the ones.
Experiment.
I think it was.
Because I don't really. That was. Well. Oh, maybe it was Ninth House.
Oh yeah,
It
you
was.
didn't really like.
I did not like Ninth House. I think I'll probably get rid of Ninth House and then probably Red, White, and Royal Blue. I did not really care for that book. Sorry, guys. Yeah.
Wow.
Oh, well.
Speaking of those romances.
Yes.
Next
The House on Vesper Sands. That's also one.
Oh yeah, that one's been in my bag for a while to get rid of. But yes, next week we got Part of Your World by Abby Jimenez.
Part of that world. Every time I see that cover, I sing it in my head.
I know, I really want it to be mermaid theme. It is not. But Abby Jimenez, very popular romance writer nowadays. This book seemed to be where her hype really started. She's written books prior.
So this is part of a series. I don't know if
it's book one.
Yeah, but is it standalone series or are these people
They're standalone series, yeah. Because it's like her sister or friend that's in the next book that just came out called Yours.
I saw that and I panicked.
No, you're good.
Okay. Yeah. I also would like to point out that I thought it was a dog on the front cover. It's a goat.
It's a goat.
Yeah.
Oh,
I love it. I love it.
Also be looking out since it is now the end of July. That's wild. Our August schedule will be coming out soon. It's kind of starting to wrap up the summer.
I'm going to be honest, I don't even remember what books we had for August.
Neither do I, but I made the photo when we had it, so it'll be a surprise for both of us. And we also have to plan for October soon. We gotta really get our spook season going.
Yeah, I definitely have a book in mind that I think we could bring, like spicy spooky.
Oh, I know what book.
She knows. I say
maybe
spicy
we should
spooky.
Each
got her.
Read a spooky themed book and then tell each other so we can get more spook into the month, or at least for 1 week.
Well, you get into horror books way more than I do.
Oh my god, I can tell you a scary story.
You can tell me a scary story.
And it won't be as scary because I won't go into like all the details that the books do.
As long as it's not like The Troop, I'm still traumatized by that book.
Well, I won't do that to you again. Purposefully. I might accidentally, but no promises.
It's okay. Yeah, we'll get spooky in October. Don't worry, guys. We've got the witches, and I'm sure we'll have a horror or thriller or something. I know Sherry LaPena was coming out with a new book, so maybe that'll be out by then.
So is Lisa Jewell. A lot of them are coming out.
I don't think I've ever read a Lisa Jewell book.
You should. I recommend. Anyway, thanks for listening, you guys. You can check out what else we got going on Instagram at Baby Got Stacks Podcast. We have a link in our bio that takes you to other places we're at, like Goodreads. You can see what books we have and what else we're reading, which isn't a whole lot nowadays.
True, it's true.
It also has a link to our TikTok. We're an account there. Look out for our August schedule and like us wherever you're listening to this podcast. Like and follow.
That'd like us.
Cool. Just like us, please.
Just like us, okay?
And you can check out our YouTube where we also have our podcast recordings up on there as well. So you have options.
We are everywhere.
And we will try to have our bonus content be actual videos with visuals.
Yeah, we're gonna see how that goes.
Books or something. We're working on it, not actively, but
I was gonna say we could do it like vlog style, but I would get like I would clam up if people were around me, like
actually
if we were
watching.
in a bookstore.
Maybe if it was the two of us together, empty book aisle. We can go into like the voiceover. Diet books.
We could do voiceovers.
We could figure that out probably.
We'll think about it.
Yeah, no, we got it. But yeah, thanks for listening, you guys, and we'll see you next week.
Thanks. We'll see you next week. Bye, guys.